Boston Celtics lose to the Utah Jazz at home, where the Jazz were coming off of a back-to-back from Charlotte, and they lose. The Celtics got some great and some bad news, but to be honest with you guys, it's mostly going to be bad news on today's show, as similar issues that we've seen in the Boston Celtics losses, their 5 losses to the first 8 games of the season, continue to rear their ugly heads. The Boston Celtics lose the rebounding battle by 19 in this game. And in the game's final possession, they had tied it, and they had forced a tough look from Keyonte George, who had been kind of frying them off the bounce all game long. We'll get to that in a little bit as well. But what do they allow? An offensive rebound and a second chance opportunity. A wide open second chance opportunity to one Jusuf Nurkic. The Boston Celtics got Jusuf Nurkic tonight. Now, what I will say is that this is not something that is entirely unique to the Boston Celtics so far this year. We saw how Boston constructed their roster heading into this season without Jason Tatum, losing their entire front court from the championship core. They brought in and elevated Neemias Queta in the rotation, brought in Luka Garza, Chris Boucher, Xavier Tillman got healthy, and they brought him back. And it's resulted in allowing this. In the first loss of the season to Philly, 10 offensive rebounds, 21 second chance points. They nearly capitalized on all their opportunities there. Lost 2 to the Knicks, 21 offensive rebounds for 21 second chance points. Lost 3 to the Detroit Pistons, 18 offensive rebounds to 30 second chance points. Lost number 5 to the Jazz in this one, 15 offensive rebounds, 13 second chance points. So they didn't kill you like they did really, box score wise in all these 3 games, but they did it when it counted. Game-winning offensive rebound putback from Jusuf Nurkic. I mean, that's embarrassing when you lose to the Utah Jazz. The Celtics were up 12 in this game early on, but they also shot 11 of 51 from three-point range in this game. We'll talk about that in a moment, but I want to hear from Joe Mazzulla on what the Celtics rebounding woes are really all about here. He said, "We're never going to be top 5, but we have to be better." Oh, man. There's ones that we have to get, and we have to compensate in other areas. We just have to fight to be better in that. Look, what I'll say about this comment is this. Brad Stevens purposefully sabotaged this roster. When you bring together a group of players in Jaylen Brown, Payton Pritchard, Derek White, Sam Hauser, and then elevate a lot of those guys' roles when you lose a guy like Jason Tatum, and then obviously trading away Holiday and Porzingis and losing Al Horford and Luke Cornett, you're going to be much less, top-heavy talent-wise. Of course you are. You're losing so much talent. You're without Jason Tatum this season. So when you have those guys who also have a lot of talent themselves, and Brown, Pritchard, and Hauser, and Derek White, and you bring in a guy like Anfernee Simons in on a contract year as well, those guys aren't going to purposefully tank your season. They're not going to go out there and play lackadaisical and not give out 110% effort. They're going to go out there and give out effort. So how do you lose basketball games in a season where you could potentially go out and get a priority draft selection in 2026 in a very deep and very talented first round of that NBA draft? You go out and make the rest of the roster surrounding those pieces that you brought back and that are hungrier to improve with absolute garbage. Luka Garza is not a long-term NBA player. Chris Boucher, how much of an impact can he really have? Xavier Tillman, I don't know. Josh Minott, I like. I actually think he's going to be a Celtic for a long time. But, again, as far as winning basketball games this season, you can kind of see what Brad Stevens was doing this offseason when it comes to constructing this roster and the deficiencies that they have now. They don't really have a ton of on-the-ball creation, and they can't rebound the basketball. So what's that going to result in? A lot of hot and cold nights. And they got cold in this one. So with that being said, I thought it was absolutely embarrassing that the Celtics went out and lost this game. What's your one-word reaction to this one between the Celtics and the Jazz? Losing on a buzzer-beating, essentially a buzzer-beating offensive rebound putback from Jusuf Nurkic. What's your one-word reaction? Let me know down in the comment section what it is. Alrighty. We got to talk about some great news because that was doom and gloom for a little bit. Jaylen Brown was awesome in this game. Not from three-point range. Who was on the Boston Celtics? Nobody, to be quite honest with you. How do you have – this is ethical. This is just straight ethical hoops. 0 of 9 from three-point range, and this guy still goes out there and puts up 36 of them damn things. I think he was 10 of 11 from the free throw line as well. I mean, 3 turnovers. He kind of took care of it for the most part, and he was efficient getting the ball downhill. He was efficient in the mid-range, doing his little bag work. You know, JB trying to create space in the intermediate range. But, again, I can't shake it that I know Jaylen Brown's playing awesome basketball. He really is. This is one of the sickest takeovers I've ever seen from him. 27 points in the second half. It really was great, and nothing else was going for Boston. But a lot of these like bloated Jaylen Brown performances to start the year, statistically, he's been great. The Celtics are 3-5. And I'm not saying it's his fault, but like, eventually this is going to get old. Eventually we're going to start seeing these stat lines and the Celtics not winning, and it's going to start to look a little bit empty. I'm just saying. I don't think Jaylen Brown's stat line was empty tonight, but just something to monitor as we move further along in this season. Something else to monitor here is the last 2-minute report tomorrow, as Jaylen Brown was absolutely tripped late in this game. I know this one call shouldn't matter in the grand scheme of a Celtics versus Jazz game. Like, the Jazz are legitimately terrible, but Jaylen Brown, no doubt, got tripped, like plain as day tripped. You can go back to my reaction on our Celtics watch party from on Monday night. And you could see, I'm like dumbfounded. I don't even know what I think I was like silent for a second because I was so confused waiting for the whistle to be called. Jaylen Brown absolutely was tripped, cutting across the middle of the floor. It was a live ball turnover that went the other way, and it was a 4-point swing for the Jazz. That really ultimately kind of decided and shifted the momentum to end this game. The refs missed a major call. It can't happen. Jaylen Brown called it unacceptable. He was cursing in the postgame. He was not happy about it, and I'm not happy about it either. But then also Jaylen Brown kind of collected himself a little bit and reiterated that one call cannot dictate what happens in this game. You cannot lose to the damn Utah Jazz. You cannot go 11 of 51 from three-point range. You cannot lose the rebounding battle by 19. It just can't happen. Another thing that can't happen, another thing that Brad Stevens can't sabotage is Derek White, kind of, I don't know if he's ready for the role that he's got on the Celtics team right now, the second option offensively. And there's just been a lot of inefficient nights so far from Derek White. It's unfortunate. He did hit a big shot down the stretch of this game. I mean, the Celtics didn't end up winning, so what does it really matter? But he hit a big shot down the stretch, but really was kind of invisible for a large stretches in this game. And it's happened too many times so far early this season. With him kind of assuming this number 2 option role, people are pegging him as an all-star, myself included. He's not proving me right so far this season. Payton Pritchard was proving people right in the first half of this game. When he put up 15 points, he was 6 of 9 from the field. He finishes this thing 1-for-6. Couldn't get anything going in the second half. I think his facilitation game is really, really taking a leap. He only had 3 assists in this game, but he looks super comfortable operating inside the paint and making reads against the defenses here as a true point guard for the Celtics team. But went ice cold in the second half. You just can't have it. We're going to talk more about the Celtics loss to the Jazz here, and also about what's ahead for this Celtics team, as the schedule doesn't get any easier here for Boston. They play some very formidable opponents in the month of November. We'll detail that. We'll detail some more from the Celtics starting lineup and the bench in this one. First, though, I got to tell you guys about our sponsor, as this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. The high-flying hoops action this season is even better with PrizePicks. The weather might be changing, but you can keep the season going on PrizePicks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. All you guys got to do is pick a lineup of 2 to 6 players, and you just pick more or less on their projected stats. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. It takes less than 60 seconds to build a lineup, but I know there's a lot of apps out there that offer these stuff and more or less in lineups and cashing out and winning big money watching your favorite sports. But PrizePicks is the best because they offer the best features like stacks. Yes, stacks, where you can have multiple stat projections from the same players and use them in the same lineups only on PrizePicks. It's also becoming a social event as well. You can follow your friends, celebrities, favorite creators, and copy their picks in your own lineup using the feed tab. They're also offering a new feature right now as well called the early payout, where you can swipe, and if your PrizePicks looking like it's going to hit, but you're not super confident that it's going to go 100%, you can get paid early on PrizePicks as well. My lineup for this game, unfortunately, missed by 1 square. Lauri Markkanen couldn't quite get me 26 points tonight, but hey, I'm going to try again. You can fade or tail my picks. Just do it at PrizePicks. Download the app today and use the code CLNS to get $50 instantly in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Some other great news from the Celtics Jazz game here. Neemias Queta is becoming a player, and he's putting up stat lines that I kind of envisioned. I mean, if you guys watched my videos leading up to the start of the season, or we kind of projected what Neemias Queta would look like this year, statistically, it looks about like this. 9 points, 8 boards. Now, I really enjoyed the way that he's playing defense on the interior for the first half of this game, but second half, rebounds weren't coming as frequently, and you get kind of beat out on the last possession of this game that leads to a Jusuf Nurkic putback for the game. Like that, it's so embarrassing. It's actually so embarrassing. But Neemias Queta, I do really think, is becoming a player, becoming more and more comfortable out there, finishing around the rim a whole heck of a lot better as well, both through contact and on some open lobs, being available for those as well. 4-4 tonight, super efficient. But again, I can't get Jusuf Nurkic putback offensive rebound out of my head. Josh Minott, I thought should have played a little bit more in this game, to be quite honest with you guys. Only played 15 minutes in this one, was grabbing rebounds, I thought, at a pretty high rate in that first half. Didn't see as much action in half number 2, and maybe just because he just wasn't a threat shooting the basketball. He only took 2. I want to see more Josh Minott. He skied up for an offensive rebound above the rim and dunked on Kevin Love when he wasn't looking. It was great awareness when nobody was really guarding Josh Minott. He was just standing in the corner, and he crashed, and nobody boxed him out, and he dunked on Kevin Love. It was awesome. It was a great highlight. I want to see more from Josh Minott. It's unfortunate that he only played 15 minutes tonight. I thought he could have played a little bit more. But it was a super big Jazz team that employed Kyle Filipowski, who gave you buckets in the third quarter, Lauri Markkanen, who did his thing all night, and Kevin Love, who also played pretty well as well. Anfernee Simons, when I say that the Celtics don't have a lot of shot creation off the dribble, I'm lumping Anfernee Simons in there. Seriously, off of the dribble, he has not been good so far this year. Off the catch, shooting threes like that way, much better in that regard. But off the bounce has not been impressive. 15 points tonight, but an inefficient 5 of 13 and 2 of 8 from three-point range. Can't have it. You know what else you can't have? Sam Hauser. Putting, 1 of 8. 1 of 8 from three-point range for Sam Hauser. Also missed his first free throw of the season. Actually, sorry. First free throw missed for Sam Hauser since 2023. You had to know the Celtics were going to lose tonight when Hauser's missing free throws. Just not good all around. Ugo Gonzalez saw a little bit of time. Got a nice transition layup. He's super fast down the floor, but didn't get all that much tick here from Joe Mazzulla and in the rotation. So with that being said, we got to look ahead to what's going on for the C's here. Is there's glaring issues on the roster. Can't rebound the basketball. Going to be hot and cold shooting. Doesn't really have a lot of shot creation. And he got cooked by Keyonte George in this game. He went for 30. He's been a really good player so far this year, but the Celtics really seem to have trouble guarding a lot of these small guards. Tyrese Maxey goes for 40 on you. Cade Cunningham's not a small guard, but he went for 25 on you. And now Keyonte George just blitzes you again in this one. And this doesn't get easier. Like, this is a game against the Jazz that you had to go out there and win. Like, yeah, you have another potential gimme against the Washington Wizards on Wednesday, but then you got Orlando on the road, Philly on the road, home against Memphis, that's a good team, home against the Clippers, that's a good team, 2 layups against Brooklyn, but you probably split it, and then Orlando again, Detroit, Minnesota, Cleveland, and New York. November is not kind whatsoever to the Boston Celtics, and when you're losing games to the Jazz, I mean, there is no game on the schedule now that's not that's unlosable. They could lose to anybody in this league. I also think they could beat anybody in this league. They could win any game on that schedule. But how consistent are these things going to be? You can't afford losses to the Utah Jazz if you want to be a playoff team. You just can't. Not with how good the rest of this league is. And I'm not saying that the East is some juggernaut, but you're 3-5 right now with bad losses on the schedule. It's not good. It's not good, but we're going to keep following your C's. We're going to keep seeing if they can go out there and make a run to the postseason here. What do you guys think? Are the Celtics a playoff team? Y for yes and for no. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section, as that will do it for today's show. Hit that subscribe button for more Celtics news and rumors all season long. It's going to be a long season, but we're not stopping the coverage here. Don't get it twisted. We are absolutely the #1 spot for Celtics coverage all season long on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button, turn those noties on. We'll see you guys in the next video. And as always, let's go C's.